Well, it's that time of season. The playoffs are right around the corner. So there's never been a better time than now to join the over 600 folks who are comprising the Padres Hot Tub community at patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub for as low as $5. $5 for a month. You get all of our live post-game shows, all of our live group therapies. Heading into the playoffs, of course, post-game shows, win or lose, for the rest of the way, for every game, hopefully all the way to the World Series. But until the bitter end, we're going to stick it out, and we'd love you to join us. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. And Chris, you've been spending a lot of time on them streets of the Discord server. Why is it a fun place to hang out during this time of the baseball season?
It is a community like no other, but specifically this time of the baseball season, you are going to find a brother, a comrade in arms, meaning whatever opinion you have about the Padres, somebody will agree with you and many more will disagree with you, and you will get to air out your ideas in a safe and oftentimes uplifting environment. Not always, perfectly harmonious. There's a lot of different opinions of people who watch this team all year long, know more about it than the guy at work that you're often forced to talk to about it. But will always be engaging and a good time.
So check it out. Plus all sorts of different benefits. If you are one of our higher tiered folks, you could get, for example, a free t-shirt, or you could get one of our Padres Hot Tub mugs as well. All sorts of benefits to you. I'm going to be offering some of our larger tiered patrons after this recording an opportunity to go to a Padres game and hang out in a suite tomorrow. These are the kind of things. It's going to be a sweet deal. Pretty sweet. So check it out for yourself. Find out why most of the folks, over 90% of the folks who join us, never leave. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Patreon.com/Padres Hot Tub. Welcome to the Padres Hot Tub, everybody. Greg Elsten, Chris Reed, Raphie Cantor. It is Sunday, September 21st. The Padres are on a plane heading home as we record, fresh off taking 2 out of 3 for the White Sox, fresh off of dropping 2 out of 3 to the Mets. So it's a 3-3 road trip. Padres head home to take on Milwaukee and Arizona, the final 6 games of the regular season before heading into the playoffs. Gentlemen, we have plenty to discuss on today's show. Even in this kind of limbo-y, we pretty much know where we are. We pretty much know where we're going. And, Raphie, you said something in text yesterday that really resonated with me. You said the Padres feel, watching them, it feels like the Padres have a case of senioritis. Mm-hmm. And that's what I was kind of seeing too. Is like a club that's like, can we get on with this? Can we get to the playoffs?
You know what? When I sent that, I was thinking about, man, Andy's making us run all these fucking drills, and
in September.
It's September, man. Will Myers no longer on the team, but with the team in spirit, of course. By the way, this is a complete aside. The U.S. Golf Association's app lets you follow people, whoever you want. Whoever has a golf handicap, you can follow them. So I've been following Will Myers on his golf. He's like a plus handicap player, and he plays like 200 something rounds of golf a year. So I mean,
he's a very litigious golfer. He sued his country club famously.
Yes. So anyway, that is a complete aside. I mean, as we've discussed on the show a lot, the fate of the team is all but sealed at this point. The Padres are 3 back of the Chicago Cubs at this point. I believe they're 4 back of the Dodgers as they get underway in Los Angeles, playing the Giants as we speak right now for that series finale. So it is pretty much an impossibility. We're looking at sub 10%, maybe even sub 5% odds that the Padres pass either of them. And certainly it's almost as unlikely, or maybe perhaps just as or more unlikely, that they are passed from below. So the Padres are getting very comfortable in that 5 seed spot. And also it seems the players are getting quite comfortable there as well. Because we saw some select moments in the games, certainly on Friday and Saturday. I recall Manny Machado sort of briskly jogging for a catchable foul ball and letting it fall to the ground, and some other moments of, some where you would expect where guys know that things are on the line, that they would, perhaps lay out or try for or something a little bit harder, but we haven't seen that from the guys. And on the one hand, got to stay healthy for October. Like, I don't want anyone, sprinting for a ball at this point and pulling a hammy and, rendering them useless and everything. And on the other hand, this is time for the team to get into some sort of form and get some momentum before the season turns over and starts over completely. And you'd like to see the team take advantage, and it just sometimes doesn't seem like they're particularly bothered to do so.
Indeed. Chris, your thoughts on the team kind of, let's see, what's our nautical situation? Just drifting into the harbor, right? Just kind of a loose drift into the harbor, have turned off the engine.
Yeah, well, what they got to do is they're a little backed up on their fish flaying, right? They caught a little bit. They caught a lot of fish this offseason. They won a lot of games early, put it into the hold, and they pulled it out, and they were all still frozen, so you had to wait a little bit before you can cut them, and now you can't quite pull into the harbor because you got all this fish to cut. But when you do, that'll be good because you make a little bit more money to spend on next year's budget. Maybe they'll sign a catcher is what I'm getting at. I don't know. I'm trying to embrace the analogy.
Okay. Wow.
They're doing like, I feel like they are more like long haul truckers, on the last mile. And the thing is, they got a whole new race. They got to get out of their long haul truck once this is over. And then they got to hop into their performance car. They gotta hop into the Camaro and hit the track for some drag racing, and that's what I'm worried about. I'm a little worried that they're burned out from the long miles on the road, and they're not going to be ready for the drag race. But a big boon for them today was seeing Michael King round into some playoff form. That guy's ready to hop into a sports car. I can see Michael King behind the wheel of a souped up Viper.
Could you?
I know you guys can tell I'm not the car guy.
Could you? I don't know. Kind of feels like a station wagon guy to me, or but
station wagon.
Yeah, family guy, like just station wagon.
If anything, you'd have one of those like what do they call the Yukon, like an Escalade?
Yeah, I was just gonna say he probably has an Escalade. Like 72% of all the big leaguers have an Escalade. Okay, so we all have middling thoughts on our club's middling performance to start a show that we hope will be exemplary. Let's start off by going through the series in Chicago. And look, full disclosure, I thought they were going to lose 2. But having said that, they could have easily lost 3.
I thought they were going to sweep them.
You did. They could have easily lost every game in this series. No one should gaslight one another, and mostly this is Schilt, okay? But no one should be like abusing themselves of the notion that the Padres played great baseball this weekend. On Saturday, when they fell behind, they would not be facing a chump named Ellard next week in the playoffs, or even in the next 2 series. Some guy that comes in and walks 4 guys. That's deeply unlikely that they're going to face that going forward. Today's game, better team is going to take advantage when you take a 3-0 lead and park the bus and load the bases over and over again. Better team's going to take advantage. So
9 walks today.
Yeah,
9 walks they allowed.
Yeah, just ugly pitching today that they straight up got away with multiple times, but they are not going to get away with it every time. So, again, I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly. I'm trying to call balls and strikes here, so to speak, as your podcast host, and just say, if this was a good team, they would have lost the series. If they were facing a really good team, they would have probably gotten swept in this series because they didn't play great baseball in any of the games. They took advantage of a situation on Saturday, and today they got good enough clutch pitching in critical spots.
I think you can just as easily say they could have swept the series as gotten swept. If Dylan shows up a little bit more than he did. But your point is valid. Like we talked about in how we're feeling about it. This is a team on cruise control, so to speak. And on cruise control, you better be able to take 2 or 3 from the White Sox if you're a playoff team.
Yeah, I think my slight rejoinder to what you said, Craig, is that good teams take advantage of situations. So, today's game being barred yesterday is an example of maybe why the Padres are a good team, is because they were presented with an opportunity and they made a move at the deadline that put Ryan O'Hearn in a position where he could be batting 7th. And, whether or not he should be hitting there, as I said on the postgame show last night, he was. And the lineup was long enough because the Padres made those moves that they had actual hitters coming up with the bases loaded in critical situations, and they took advantage of that. So that's good. I think we should probably go game by game through the series, and maybe we can start on Friday with that outing from Dylan Cease. It seems like the Padres are required to give up a run in the first inning. They did it. They did it in Yu Darvish's start yesterday. I mean, talk about Michael King potentially being a stopper. He certainly stopped that today, and I can't remember how many consecutive games in a row that was. The start against the White Sox, aside from the fact that you were losing a game against the White Sox, was concerning for me because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the first time that Dylan had pitched in at Rate Field, as it's now called, since he was traded. And so I have to imagine that for Dylan, that it was a game of some significance. And that is worrisome for me as we head to October because it still feels to me that Dylan has not disabused anyone of the notion that he can pitch in meaningful games. And that was an example of a game that could be labeled as meaningful to him that also was not particularly challenging. And even in that instance, he was not really able to show up. So that was certainly not what I was looking for, guys.
I hope that the Padres take Friday as instructive, and therefore it becomes beneficial to their playoff run, because I hope that they had a meeting after the game and said, okay, now we know we cannot pitch Dylan Cease in the first round of the playoffs. We just can't. We cannot. Dylan Cease concluded his road campaign this year. 16 road starts. He won 1. Okay, he won 1 game. He went 1-9 with a 5.58 ERA in 16 road starts.
Sorry.
I know.
It's just so bad.
WHIP of almost 4, 1.376. And the weird thing is you get below that and you're kind of like, actually, he almost pitches the same home and road. He's given up a few more hits on the road, basically the same number of homers, but we've seen it. We've seen it. Dylan Cease pitches on the road and quite often at home the way a double agent would pitch. He gives up the lead, starts to pitch okay. His team rallies, ties things up, give up that lead right away. Right away. Oh, you rallied to tie things for me? Let me give up 2 more. Hang on. Oh, you gave me a 4-0 lead? Let me load the bases with nobody out. And throw my 27th pitch of the inning with 1 out. Dylan has done this all year long. He is an untrustworthy number 4 starter this year in Major League Baseball. And that's exactly how the Padres have to use him in the playoffs, which means I can hear Ben Higgins in the atmosphere in the future saying, "You played a playoff series and lost, and Dylan Cease didn't even take the ball. Oh, what an error." No. I'm here to tell you right now, it's the right move. It's the right move. Pivetta starts game 1. We'll talk about King coming forward here. You've got King and Darvish. You just can't start Dylan Cease on the road in a must-win game. You can't do it because you'll be behind. Guaranteed.
Is this not how we started the last episode? Like verbatim, is this not exactly how we started it?
Yeah, probably. We've got one more game of evidence. So
I need to smack the alarm clock and put your little hand in mine. Mountain we can climb. You're right, Craig. They can't do it. Like he's Randy Vasquez. Flip a coin between him and Randy Vasquez for who's the 4th starter, because it can't be Dylan. I want to counter that with once Kyle Hart came in today's game, fucking mind-bogglingly, and immediately did what Kyle Hart was going to do. I was caught up in the game, really wanting the Padres to win it, but I had to be like, wait, no. This almost doesn't really matter. I mean, it would matter. It would be lame. But Michael King came out and gave a performance that will win them a playoff game. And that's what I wanted to see out of him. That's what I thought was the most important thing. So as much as Dylan C showed you he's number 4 and can't play that first series, Michael King came out today and showed you that he could.
Okay, go ahead, Rafe. Do you agree with that?
I think it was a step in the right direction for sure. I'm pulling up the final box score right now just because I don't want to perjure myself. But Michael King did walk 4 guys in today's game. And the thing that we had been laser focused on was his command. And so I would say that has yet to be really solidified at this point. But he was able to work out of sticky situations with runners on base. That's something that we love to see. Struck out 4 guys. That's all right. Gets the win in the game, which I know there are some people who have a boner for that. Sure. I mean, how frequently have the Padres had starters not turn in 5 innings in the last month? And he was able to accomplish that and do that. I think it is certainly nothing but a positive. My question is, today is Sunday, and when does Michael King make his next start?
Thank you. Great question.
I thought I did this math. Randall in the Discord. I'm sorry, this is Discord inside humor.
Oh, well, isn't it Saturday? He would start Saturday.
Well, he's not going to if he's going to pitch in the Cup Series, right?
Correct, because it starts the 30th, right?
Yeah, and it's 3 straight days: Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
From Tuesday,
yeah. So here's the thing. All right, I somewhat agree with both of you, but I don't think today's start qualifies as what Chris said. That's where I'm not willing to go as far, which was a start good enough to win a playoff game. Michael King started this game 1st and 2nd, nobody out in the 1st inning and the 2nd inning. He started off the game hit by pitch walk. He walked another guy and gave up a single in the 2nd inning. He got away with it. In the 6th inning, when he came out to start the 6th with 5 shutout innings under his belt, he immediately loaded the bases with nobody out, single, and a 4-pitch walk. I believe of his walks, 3 of the 4 were 4-pitch walks today, and he hit a batter. So what we're looking for from King, command, took a step in the right direction today because it went from hanging his comeback 2-seamer and his slider in the middle of the plate to missing off the plate and then sometimes hitting. And it was like, And as the game went on, in the fourth and the fifth, he was very efficient with strikes. I was listening to Jesse and Tony on the way home from golf. I think it was 14 pitches, 10 strikes, and 10 pitches, 7 strikes in the fourth and fifth innings. So in that lane, in the third, the fourth, and the fifth, Michael King looked like Michael King. He looked like a player you'd be excited about in the playoffs. But he was wild. And I don't feel like he's close to being actually locked in yet. He could really use another start. But I don't see how you do it unless it's a one-time through the lineup, tune-up, 40-pitch effort.
You do his workout. You do his workout in a game, basically. Like, you don't give him the full start.
That's it.
And thanks for making the distinction there, Craig, because he didn't have control, but what I saw was like his pitch shape coming back into play, and like you said, not hanging it. And if he can do that in the playoffs, like, I feel like the bullpen is strong enough and give us 5 innings. Like, I feel like that's a winning formula that the club needs. That's the specific. That's what I mean by like good enough to win a playoff game. If he can give 5 decent innings, limit it to 2-3 runs most, like that's a winning formula. Whereas what we had seen before wasn't.
Yeah. The reason the Padres won the game today is because of the performance of the pitcher that I think, honest to God, should get down ballot Cy Young votes. This year.
Yes.
He should get down ballot Cy Young votes this year. And that is obviously Adrian Morejon. You can pick up the definitely not anti-jinx technology. Engage and turn up to 10. Turn up to 10. Maximize anti-jinx. Clearly the shirt has not been a jinx because Morejon has been dynamite. Absolutely dynamite. The reason the Padres won this series is because in 2 different games, Morejon came into a red-hot situation and just cooled it off like there was nothing there. Today, it was bases loaded, nobody out. Strikeout, pop-out, strikeout. Boom. Done. Slam the door. In doing so, he allowed Michael King to say that he pitched 5 shutout innings. 1 hit, and it's 5 innings, 2 runs. Another hit, it's 5 innings, 3 runs. And then we're saying, well, that's not very good at all. His ERA, since he's come back, is 9. Instead, it cools off. That performance gave Morejon his 20th hold of the year to go with 13 wins and 3 saves and an ERA of 2.01. And one of the best inherited runners stranded rates in all of Major League Baseball. Quite simply, no one has pitched better out of the bullpen, more effectively, and minimizing more situations this season than Morejon. It's just that he doesn't get the sexy numbers, the save numbers, the strikeout numbers, but 13 wins. He's won from Roger McDowell in 1986. It's just unbelievable. I believe
Mark
McDowell
Eichhorn
won 14. Mark Eichhorn as well.
They each in 1986, Eichhorn was in the AL and McDowell was in the NL. They each put up 14 wins, and that's the highest in the past 40 years or so. Eichhorn that year finished 6th in the Cy Young Award voting. And that's where Adrian should be.
But he also threw like 150 innings that year.
It's true. Different, and he's a very different pitcher.
Yeah.
Like, he was like a junk baller with
sidearm. No, he threw frisbees. He threw frisbees. He threw sidearm frisbees, and he would throw the 6th, 7th, and 8th. He had like kind of remember how Jeff Nelson would kind of have that way out to the side delivery? Eichhorn was like that too, but really tall, and he would just sling frisbees into they literally looked like, disc golf type of like sweepers. They were sweepers. He was throwing sweepers before they were called sweepers. But anyways, Mark Eichhorn, cool. Morejon, cool. In a world where the Padres do damage in the playoffs, Morejon has a chance to win every Padres playoff game. I'm kind of not kidding, because he's first guy in, and usually he's into the fire in the fourth or fifth, as we've seen the last week, bailing out the starter. And it would not be impossible for him to win like all but one Padres playoff game this year, or every Padres playoff game this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's also important to remember that before the Padres traded for Mason Miller, Morejon was the presumptive heir to the closer role when Robert Suarez inevitably opts out of his contract. So, I think that, I mean, real heads have not forgotten and have seen Adrian Morejon and the way that he's contributed to the team this year. But I really, add it to the list of all the reasons why I want the Padres to make a run. But I really want the nation to see what Adrian is capable of, and just how much of a fireman he can be, because he's been truly the most dependable. I would say more than Suarez. Like, he's been the most dependable person in the Padres bullpen all season.
I mean, picture it. The Padres get to Shota Imanaga in game 2, having already won game 1. And then the Cubs, get to Yu Darvish, and then Wandy comes in and gives a home run. And then they cut to the crowd, and a solid 40% of the crowd is in Keep Calm and Morejon t-shirts. And they're just stoic and confident and ready for what comes next. And then Morejon comes in, shuts it in. We're into the winning formation. Petco home games.
So 40% of Wrigley Field, that'd be what, like 16,000 people, or maybe 13?
Yeah.
Are we doing a bulk order that I'm not aware of?
20,000 Keep Calm and more.
I think we should talk about this. That's a lot of money. I think that's more than we have. I think we're gonna have to do a
We're not
cash
paying
call
for it. But this is like this is an individually motivated movement.
Oh, 15,000 Chicagoans on their own.
Padres fans from around the country concentrated,
and Chicagoans who are suitably impressed
and have given up. They lost that first game. Time to wear a new hat.
Got Boom. It. Okay. So Morejon, awesome. King, iffy. Darvish, to me, you did kind of the same thing. He gave up a run in the first inning. He's a little wobbly. Then he looks good. And every Padres starter right now, save Nick Pivetta, is 75% to put you behind early in the game. Like, these guys are basically like, but they're going to give up something early, but then they're going to hopefully settle in and de-wobble. I kind of feel like that's one of the things that's really there's these persistent anti-win conditions that the Padres keep putting up for themselves. And one of them is constantly falling behind. They had fallen behind. So I saw the AC stat. It was something like they were 1-10 in 11 games when they had fallen behind in the first inning. So that for a team that's built on take the lead and give it to the pen, falling behind obviously is the worst thing you can do, right?
Yeah. But it's going to happen. Like, the Padres don't have they don't have anybody who, like, when was our last shutout? It feels like it's been,
I know, it's been forever.
It's been 100 years, 94 years.
It's probably the last Rocky series.
Yeah, that's true.
I think I'd be remiss at this point, since we've been talking about this series and we're about 29 minutes into this show, to not say, wow, Ryan O'Hearn. I'm so glad he's on this team. He gets 3 hits today. He got 3 hits yesterday, including the bases clearing double. And just a prime example of why you go out and get one of those guys. I mean, I know that he and Ramon Laureano have been scuffling as of late, after some very hot starts. But these guys have the pedigree that they have for a reason. So, I'll be intrigued to see how the team handles O'Hearn and Arise when Bogarts comes back, because one of those guys.
O'Hearn's going to the bench.
I know how. And I know that we're not going to get a satisfactory explanation. But I mean, sorry, I don't want to get in this conversation again. I wanted to make that as an aside. It's just like, it's just like, because it's just frustrating, because it is like, again, we talk about the things that teams can control and the things that they can't control. And the lineup and defensive arrangement are certainly things that teams can control. And so just a reminder, then we could leave it at that it will be a choice that the Padres are making if they so choose. And we should talk about Jackson Merrill and Fernando Tatis Jr., because they're both really sick and awesome.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'll even stay on O'Hearn for a second more. Gavin Sheets has cooled off a little bit, so it's not impossible that when Bogaerts comes back, O'Hearn stays in the lineup and Sheets is the one who goes back to the bench. And we'll say thank you so much for your service, because there was a 3-week period when no one was hitting except Gavin Sheets, in the end of August. And he did carry the team for a minute when he got off the bench. He's cooled off a little bit again. And I think whoever's the hotter left-handed bat now is going to play, because, again, we're not getting into it. I just think we need to accept some things about the Padres. In fact, I'm actually sick and tired of hearing folks on the broadcast, folks on the radio, the manager, and even the beat writer to continue to talk about potential and maybe and upside and ceiling and all this stuff. You've got 156 games of data.
Yep.
The team is what it is. The only reason that you're going to get movement in performance is because baseball is stupid and no one should watch. It's the most variable sport. So, anything, it's always a moving target. Sheets cold, next week hot. Manny cold, next week hot. Everything changes all the time. But having said that, Merrill and O'Hearn getting really hot is really important, because something that's bedeviled the Padres all year, they're going to face all the time, including every game to start the playoffs, which is left-handed pitchers with command. The left-handers who can dot both sides of the fastball, both sides of the strike zone with their fastball. And just very recently, not very long ago, a left-hander was just a death sentence for the Padres, because they're starting 4 to 5 left-handed bats against left-handers. And Bogaerts coming and taking one of those lefty bats out of the lineup against an Imanaga or a Matthew Boyd, is really, really important. Similarly, O'Hearn got that 3-run double off of Ellard, the lefty reliever. He got 3 hits today. He's been hitting lefties, and Merrill has been hitting lefties. And seeing as they're going to be in the lineup, you need them to hit lefties specifically. That's almost, I'm telling you, no matter how deep the Padres go in the playoffs, every team is going to line up every lefty they have, and they're going to throw them against San Diego nonstop.
Gavin Sheets becomes a really appealing option late in the game. If Diaz or Freddie Fermin are, it's innings at 7 or 8th, and Fermin or Diaz are up against a righty that throws hard, and that's a really valuable thing on the team, to have on your playoff roster. It's no knock to Gavin Sheets. Did you guys see that last night the Dodgers took the lead over the Giants in their all-time head-to-head record?
Oh yeah.
Dodgers now lead 1288 to 1287, and it's the first time the Dodgers lead the Giants head-to-head since after a game on August 8th, 1896.
Oh, that's
Sarah
awesome.
Langs. It's talking about baseball being the game of no, let's just keep running it out there.
Yeah,
Luis Ariz for 120 years. He's gonna get the hits, baby.
It's coming.
Yeah. I mean, it's a good reminder that we are so ensconced in recent history. But when the Giants and the Dodgers were both still in New York boroughs, the Giants were fantastic. I mean, they had Carl Hubble, they had the incredible pitchers, and the Dodgers were the bums. That's who they were before they moved. And so that's awesome. I do appreciate that. But can we talk about Tatis and Merrill though? Because they have been great, and I just want to say that if folks missed it today and you really want to have some good baseball ASMR, go and listen to the sound of the ball off the bat from Fernando Tatis Jr.'s home run today. It was 93, like right. I mean, truly right down the middle, first pitch, and he put it, practically into the Chicago loop from where he hit it. It was just like halfway up the bleachers. It was like something you would see at Coors, and he just absolutely demolished it. And it is right on the back of a Letters to AJ piece, which, details something we've been talking about on the show about how Fernando has definitely changed his approach. And we have been talking for months of like, when's Fernando going to find that form? When's he going to find that form? I actually feel it's safe to call that Fernando's in exactly the form he needs to be as the Padres head into October.
I mean, I wouldn't mind the crazy, insane Nando that we saw last playoffs, and maybe he finds it with this current approach. I do wonder how many playoff teams are going to give him that first pitch strike, and he's been so aggressive as of late. Like, he has been attacking pitchers early on, which makes me think, just going back to what we talked on the post game, Raphie, like lineup optimization. Like, is he now still the best guy to lead off with his change in approach? But we've got such an amazing outfield that, like, with Merrill and Laureano just bumping it up a little bit more past idle, like, these guys are going to be an incredibly dangerous unit. Like, I like how their outfield matches up with just about everybody, that we're going to face.
Jackson Merrill has 13 extra base hits in 19 hits in the month of September. He is in 1 month done the House of Fire thing that's going to completely change his strat card for this year. It completely changes his numbers for the year, because there was the longest time that it looked like Jackson Merrill was going to finish the year with a slug around 400 or even below 400. And now it's up to over 450, or it was 455 slugging coming into today. I guess he only got a single today. So, it's going to stay right around there. But this is the version of player that can help the Padres win a playoff series. This Jackson Merrill is the kid that you signed to a 9-year contract. And he had a really tough season in a lot of ways, but kind of just a little like Carroll did in his sophomore year, where he came down but then finished really strong. Jackson is finishing really, really strong going into the part of the year where you need him to be a dude, and he's being a dude. So it's so encouraging, not just for right now and for the Padres playoff hopes next week, but for going forward, because I could definitely imagine the whispers of, the first year was a fluke, the second year's reality, this is the real him, it's not that good. It's like, no, he's really, really, really good. And he can even be better going forward.
Yeah, absolutely. I, think it's worth reiterating that he was recovering from a traumatic brain injury for much of the season. When we went to our Sweet Life game and we talked to Jesse Agler on the field before the game, he was telling us about, like, dude was not well. Like, he was like, it was clear that when he was trying to get back from injury, like, it was, he was out of sorts. And so, I think it is no secret or not a secret. There's no mystery. It is no mystery is a better word of why Jackson's playing well now. I just think time heals wounds, and maybe you could say the same for Nando, after he took that ball off the wrist in May in Pittsburgh, and that's why he's starting to come back now. But I just want folks to remember that I heard you say that his slugging percentage is up past 450, but do you know what his OPS is at the current moment? Do you have that handy?
I have it, baby.
What is it?
Yeah.
769.
769. So, I mean, even if we say if Jackson is a high 700s or even just an 800 OPS. And if that's the guy he is going forward, that coming in center field, like, is such a boon for this team. And that is certainly worth the contract that he has been signed, if he can be even that going forward as something of a floor. And as, obviously we'll have plenty of time in the coming months to look ahead to 2026. But I look at that outfield next year, and I'm stoked for Laureano, Merrill, and Tatis the rest of the year, or for all of 2026. I am stoked on an infield of Machado, Bogarts, and Cronenworth, and whoever they have playing first base instead of Luis Ariz. Like, if the Padres really are able to upgrade at first base in terms of someone who can slug anywhere close to 500, like, that's a good offense next year. Like, I'm looking ahead and seeing the long game of this team. And, obviously there are question marks as we get to the end of the 2020s, but for 2026, I see no reason on the offensive side of the ball, at least, why this can't be a lethal lineup going forward. Just, we'll talk about pitching later on. That's a conversation for November.
Just wait till we're watching Justin Verlander in his quest for 300 wins in a Padres uniform.
Oh, wow.
Really taking it back to the mid-2000s, baby.
But Chris, his second half ERA with the Giants was spectacular.
Tell me, AJ couldn't talk himself into it.
Well, he could. Let me just kind of a spontaneous question, and it's unfair and it's ill-timed. So with all of those caveats out of the way, Ryan O'Hearn is an outgoing free agent. He's what, 31? Is he 31 or 32?
Yeah. He's in that 29 to 31 range.
Would you offer him a deal to be the first baseman next year?
Do the Padres have the money for it?
He's 32.
I mean, if Ariz and Hosmer are both coming off the books, obviously Pivetta kind of gets Hosmer's money.
Sorry,
but it's true.
Eric Hosmer jump scare. I was like, wait, what?
Hey guys, yeah. Remember, Moonball Media is shutting down.
They are. That is. Yeah, that's like $25 million off the books, right?
Yeah.
13
next year.
13.
No, but between the two of them, Hosmer and Ariz, that's like $25 million off the books.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rhys Hoskins in his 31 season got 2 years 34 from the Brewers.
And he had hit more home runs than O'Hearn. O'Hearn's never hit 20 homers, right?
Slightly better offensive. Really? God, I feel like he's better, but I forget that he, has these. He's been a part-timer a lot of his career.
Yeah,
but like I put him pretty close to where Rhys Hopkins was coming into free agency, especially considering he's a better defensive player.
Yeah. Ryan O'Hearn's career high for homers is 16 set this year. Before that it was 15 and 14. He's a career 738 OPS. He has a career BWAR of 2.7 in 8 years. And he's 32. I feel like he's one of those guys that just sits on the market until February or March and doesn't get a deal because he doesn't fit almost any team's algorithm. He's not spitting out WAR. He's not spitting out, above projection numbers. He's the wrong age. He plays the wrong positions. I could easily see him be an overlooked player that the Padres might be able to pay that kind of Hosmer-y number, 13, something like that, 12, 13 million.
Yeah.
A 1+1, a 2+1, a deal like that.
Well, here's his competition next year. Pete Alonso will opt out. Josh Naylor is a free agent. Paul Goldschmidt is a free agent. Max Muncy carries a club option of $10 million that could get picked up. Josh Bell is a free agent. Wilmer Flores is a free agent. And then everybody below that is worse significantly than Ryan O'Hearn. So I mean, I spot 3 guys who will definitely make more, but like, I think O'Hearn's the 3rd or 4th best free agent first baseman on the market.
You left out Luis Ariz. He's free agent. He'll be picked before him.
I don't know why I wouldn't bring him up.
Don't know why either.
Why I wouldn't. I don't know why I would not
Can't
mention
imagine.
Luis Ariz as an option there.
Look, I heard you say this yesterday on the post-game show, Raphie. I just want to submit for the record 2 things. We don't even have to get into a discussion about it. I just want to make sure that everybody who's listening understands that Padres Hot Tub does not condone late-game defensive substitutions that take O'Hearn off the first base bag and give it to Ariz. That's just a mistake. It's a fundamental error every time. And wouldn't you hate the 9th inning of a playoff game to be the time that it goes off the 5'7" dude's glove when the 6'4" guy was there? He was literally there a minute ago, and then he's gone. So that's 1. And 2,
can I say something just
Sure.
really quickly about that, which is that
Amendment to
I
the
had
record,
a message
please.
from our beloved Discord member, Venable for President, messaged
Yes.
me, and he said, hey, Raphie, I agree I had the same question when O'Hearn was pulled from the game last night, but then I realized that probably the reason that Schilt did that was because in the top of the 9th, the following inning after the defensive adjustment, that would mean sacrificing a Luis Ariz at bat and giving Mason McCoy an at-bat. That would be my takeaway as to why. I do wonder if O'Hearn was scheduled to bat in the 9th, would he have stayed in and Ariz had been the one to come out of the game?
That's the whole
think
thing.
that's
They've done
very
this like 4
generous.
times. They've done it like 4 times,
Yes,
and
that
every
was my
time
retort.
O'Hearn's gone out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so we all agree.
If folks,
Yeah.
I think that's a good, yes, we agree. We agree.
By unanimous consent, we advance the decree that O'Hearn should never be taken out for defense in order that Ariz plays defense. So let it be said, hit the fly swatter. Now, next I'd like to submit for
Law and Order
unanimous
sound.
consent and decree that Kyle Hart should never pitch ever again in a Padres
Oh my God.
uniform in a game that is within a margin of 4 ever again. I don't care how many times he has snapped off a sweeper that swept over the outside corner for a strike. This dude is bad news. He's in the game. It's gonna hurt you. And today the Padres absolutely coulda, shoulda, woulda lost because they went to Hart in a spot where they could have gone to Wandy. They went to Hart, and then because he screwed up, it's like we've got this weird thing right now. It's like everybody in the Padres bullpen for some reason hates Mason Miller. I don't know if his farts stink or he eats all the clubhouse pizza and he never leaves the right slice for the other guys. But whoever comes in the 7th is always like, fuck you, Mason. You thought you had the 8th? You have the 7th, bro. Here I come to throw a big stink bag right onto the pitcher's mound. And every day it's Estrada or it's Hart or whoever it is. It's like, sorry, Mace, bases are loaded. You better get up and get in there. And today Miller didn't have it. And if he wasn't a unicorn that's unhittable, the Padres would have lost the game because he walked in 2 runs, but you just can't hit the guy. So he eventually got it settled. So anyways, without any more filibuster, by decree, Kyle Hart never pitches playoff baseball, period.
Well, now, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit? If you want me to answer your question, do you want to elaborate that? Because I feel like it's right there on the table. I mean, this guy is a Choi Dong-won award winner.
That's true.
You know, this man has a trophy on his mantle for throwing the ball and throwing the ball hard, throwing the ball kind of hard, throwing the ball at least with some velocity towards home plate and getting strikes and strikeouts. And that's why he's in there.
Let me ask you something, cuz. Let me ask you something, Kevin AC. How many Choi Dong-won awards do you have?
I have none. You're right. Oh my gosh, you're right. Oh no, you've defeated me again.
No,
Man.
I do want to take this seriously for a second because one of the reasons I love our Padres Hot Tub Discord is because we can have spirited debates. And I had some nice spirited debate today with Discord members something witty, and to a certain extent, our Matt Fryer Ben today, because they were very right to say that today, or when Kyle Hart was coming into the game, that he had a good September up to this point. And I'm trying to find the exact stats that Matt Fryer Ben had, but he had pitched something like 7 1/3 innings and had like 13 strikeouts.
Yeah,
and
great.
Yeah, he had 7 1/3, 3 hits, 2 earned runs, 1 walk, and 13 strikeouts. And something Woody pointed out, like, he did very well against the Mets team last week, and I think that is all well and good. But the truth of the matter is that they those innings were coming in incredibly low leverage moments, and in fact, this was the third highest leverage moment that Kyle Hart pitched all season long, with three runs up in the 7th inning with nobody on, nobody out. And so I do think that, like, okay, yes, he's been pitching well as of late, whatever you want to say, but that's because those innings haven't been coming when anything has really particularly mattered, when teams are kind of rolled over and they're just kind of running out the clocks. They could, move on and get the fuck out of Cincinnati or whatever they're trying to do. And so I think that anytime Kyle Hart comes into this game or comes into a game for the Padres, when it matters, it is a failure of the organization.
Correct.
That's just flat out. He is not a good pitcher. We know that. The Red Sox know that. Like, there's no reason, there's no more tape to be had on Kyle Hart. And so, he might have good outings at some point. But that's weather. That is not climate. The climate says that Kyle Hart's a bad pitcher. Sometimes bad pitcher pitches well. That's weather. And that's all that I mean to say by that.
That's right. I mean, they were losing to the Mets 8-3. Kyle Hart comes in when the Mets don't care, and he strikes them out. So good for him. He pitched twice in the last 2 weeks trying to protect a lead, and both times either the lead evaporated and the team lost, or today he loaded the bases and Mason Miller forced in 2 runs, but they somehow hung on and got in. My point, and again, it's very straightforward, but you just said it, man. Like, don't get tempted by meaningless outings in low leverage situations to think that you found something in Kyle Hart. You haven't. All you found is a trick pony that isn't going to perform the trick in the playoffs. He's just going to be a base runner dispenser. And I do not want things that Schilt does in the last few weeks that scares me. This is one of them. Like, there's days that he's willing to take Nick Pivetta out, and then there's other days that it just doesn't happen. So. Hi, welcome back.
That was a long one.
I don't know what's going on with Verizon. It's like the last 2-3 times we've talked, and that it'll cycle, and then I see it goes red, and then I'm like, okay, 45 seconds, a minute, and then it comes back. I don't know what's going on in shitification.
Man, I don't care if Kyle Hart's fastball has gone from 91 to 93 miles per hour in relief rolls. I don't care what he's done against teams that don't care about the game anymore. We know who he is. We've seen it with our eyes. Like, we don't need any more. Like, we're good. And there are other options. If Wandy Peralta comes in and pitches that inning, maybe Mason Miller still has to pitch. Maybe Robert Suarez still has to pitch. But they're lower stress innings. That's for darn sure. In a game that, Mike Schilt, he talks about chasing the win. And yesterday, he threw Mason Miller in a 4-run game. He threw Robert Suarez in a 5-run game.
Yeah, he did.
You don't throw Kyle Hart in a 3-run game. Don't do it.
You just can't. Yeah. So thankfully, we have submitted these 2 unanimous consent decrees. Let's see how it works with the Pods. Okay, there's 6 games left. Did the Brewers clinch their division today?
Yes, I think.
I
thought it when I was looking at the playoff
they
odds,
lost. They lost. They lost 5-1.
They still have 100% clinch by 100% win division on Fangraphs. That's what I was looking at earlier. And I was looking at that because the Padres moved into 100% make playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's so improbable. It's probably like 99.7 and they're rounding up or whatever. But they haven't technically clinched over
Not
the
a
Cubs.
clinch.
They've all but clinched. There was the dream that they were all going to get drunk tonight. And come ass dragging into Petco Park and maybe kind of give us one to start things off, but not yet.
We are the ass draggers.
Right.
But we didn't clinch either.
No, we didn't. So Brewers in town. Freddie Peralta is going to try and become an 18-game winner tomorrow against Nick Pivetta. That's pretty exciting, I guess. Yeah, he's, he good. Tuesday's matchup pits TBD against TBD. That makes sense. Everybody is playing it close to the vest. And same thing on Wednesday, really? But yeah, they're going to throw Quinn Priester. Quinn Priester is 13-2. With a 3.25 ERA. I guess the Padres starters are all up in the air because if they clinch, they may call up Nestor Cortez and JP Sears and do weird piggyback moves and so on and so forth. They might as well let Cease go out there and show him everything he's got. Honestly, he should start Wednesday's game if the team stays on turn. He would start Wednesday's game, and Strandy would start Tuesday's game. So I'm guessing they're going to make those starts, and the Padres are just being a little bit goofy about it. Point being, everything is all set unless you want to get really goofy and say that the Cubs are about to go on a nasty, nasty cold streak. And Cubbies are facing the Mets the next 3 days. So that's win-win that's why the Padres are 100%, pretty much, I think, is you look at these games and you're like, how can these other teams do it? But a world where the Cubs get double swept. They just got swept by the Reds. If they got double swept.
4 games.
Yeah. If they got double swept and the Mets swept them, then suddenly the 4 seed would still not be in play because the Padres would obviously lose twice along the way because the Padres are just doing that. They're just doing that every single time. I mean, I've watched this month of baseball. Give me a fucking break. You think we're going to go win 3 in a row? What the hell are you talking about? Come on, give me a break. Give me a break. It would be just another missed opportunity for the San Diego Padres. But that's literally it. That's it. That's it. We sweep Milwaukee. Cubs get swept. All of us, because the 3 games, we figured this out right before coming on the air, Chris. The Padres, as long as they didn't kick rocks against the Diamondbacks to end the year, they could have the tiebreaker on Chicago. They hold it today.
Yeah.
The tiebreaker, which is interdivisional games, interdivisional records. So, if they're more capable of catching Chicago than they are LA.
Yep. It's still going to take like 50 pieces of Swiss cheese lining up with a hole you can stick a pen through. And it's unlikely, but you know what? This team needs to find some magic, man. It has felt a little bit, I don't want to say down at Petco Park because I haven't been there. And I know the atmosphere in the stadium is almost always great. But for these last 6 coming home, like that's a place to find some energy and to find some magic. And, a sweep of Milwaukee would be just the ticket,
Yeah, I mean, I find it very unlikely. The Padres are still 4 back in the loss column of the Cubs at this point. So, I mean, it really would take a miracle. Like the Padres would have to win out, and the Cubs would need to go 2-4.
Yeah,
I think I
that's
have that
basically
correct.
it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sure.
Sure. Yeah. If it happens, it happens. It's great.
Yeah.
If it happens, I'll get charged for a playoff strip I never thought I would. And that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Home playoff baseball next week, amazing. Nathaniel Rateliff and the Night Sweats might get upset. They're supposed to play Gallagher Square Tuesday night. If that got preempted for a Padres playoff game, might be upsetting to the Night Sweats, but probably be okay for everybody else.
Oh my god!
I kind of can't believe the team would allow that to be scheduled. That's kind of crazy.
I know, right?
Yeah.
There's your vote of confidence, boys. There's your bulletin board material.
Exactly. If you really want to know what Group Dog thought about you, AJ, he booked a concert for playoffs opening night.
I just gave myself a heart attack because I was scrolling through roster resource and my cursor landed on Martin Maldonado and it lit it up like he was now on the 40-man.
Oh, no. No.
Whew. Hey, Xander Bogaerts tomorrow? Huh?
As far as I've heard, right?
That could happen.
The latest. That's massive. Like the fact that he gets 6 games to get back into shape. We were questioning whether he would appear at all in the regular season. So, I think getting the familiarity back in the infield, I'll be curious. Hopefully not. That we don't. I'm hoping because Xander's been really rangy all year and has I think proven a lot of doubters, including myself, wrong. Playing a really fantastic shortstop this year, and my hope is that continues given the fact that he did sustain an injury in his foot. I mean, just nothing but upside. He has been an absolute spark plug for the team for almost the entire season. He's probably the peskiest at bat in that lineup. And that coming in the middle of the order, which I'm assuming he probably won't be batting lower than 5th on his return. Maybe 6th.
Yeah,
certainly
5th or 6th for sure. Yeah.
Nothing but good for the team. That's all I got on that.
You know what?
Ray, if you want sorry. I just want to Ray. No, I don't want to interrupt the conversation because I was looking at something to maybe transition on or put towards later.
Well, just one other note. If Bogaerts does slot back into 5th, obviously he needs to hit. We all know that. We all understand. He him showing up to go 0-for-3 with double plays isn't helpful. But one knock-on effect that could be helpful is kicking Laureano 2 spots down the lineup because Ramon has been struggling quite badly. And he's shown only intermittent, sporadic signs of coming out of it. I think reducing his weight in the lineup could be of use to this team. And because Merrill's hitting so well, you can now go to Tatis, Arise, Machado, Merrill, Bogaerts, O'Hearn, Laureano, Cronenworth, Fermin, right? And I mean, it's nice. It's nice. It's a pretty, if they all start hitting, then it's a perpetual motion machine. So I kind of like that as a tiny current knock-on effect. There's many weeks of the year where Laureano should hit ahead of Bogaerts based on their overall season performance. But right now, Laureano's not hitting. So I'd like to see that.
Did you just say that you're looking forward to Xander Bogaerts hitting in the 5-hole? Is that what just happened on this show?
If he's going to hit better than Laureano.
Goodness.
Yeah. Now, can he get a hit with runners in scoring position, please? Not going to forget.
The clapping being heard worldwide is like bringing back hundreds of fairies to life. It's wonderful.
Hang on. Yeah. Sure. Okay. Fine. 178. He's all the way up to 178 with a 534 OPS. He's all the way up to 178
with runners in scoring position.
Yeah, with runners in scoring position. 534 OPS, 263 slugging, only 144 plate appearances this year. But
only
anyways.
measly.
Okay.
Rafe, do you want to talk about your swing data, or do you want to push that for another time? Because it is really great.
I think it could be something to talk about with the show to wrap and put a bow on it. For folks who aren't aware, one of the greatest sort of changes in the last couple of seasons with MLB is that they've made their bat tracking data available to the public. And it's really interesting if you go in there and do some analysis and just tinker with stuff. But one of the things that I thought was interesting was I just wanted to go through and look purely at the bat tracking data of all 30 Major League Baseball teams and see where the Padres are potentially outliers. You know, we've talked this season about the lack of slug. We've talked this season about this sort of contact pole-to-pole approach that it seems that the team it certainly has been trying to take at Petco Park. And I wanted to see where the team was different. And, you know, one thing that certainly stood out to me, and this is the only category where the Padres are truly an outlier. They are 30 of 30 in this category, which is that the Padres have the flattest swings in baseball as a team this year. They have an attack angle of 8 degrees. And just so folks understand, there is not a ton of variance across Major League Baseball in terms of attack angle. The flattest attack angles are 8 degrees. The steepest attack angles are 11 degrees in baseball. So I just want that to be the context for folks as I start this conversation. But, you know, there are decimal places that aren't shown on the website. And once you take all those decimal places into account, the Padres are, in fact, the team with the flattest attack angle. And just to clarify, that is at the moment right before the hitter makes contact with the baseball. You know, basically, how much are they swinging up on the ball? That is what attack angle is. And so the Padres have the flattest attack angle in baseball. The ideal attack angle, which is defined by Major League Baseball as being between 5 and 20 degrees. The Padres have an ideal attack angle of 47.9%, which is again on the lower end in baseball. And I just wanted to just draw some correlation and distinctions between sort of what the Padres have been doing and how that fits in across Major League Baseball. In the teams that have the 5 flattest attack angles in baseball, the Padres, the Brewers, the Blue Jays, the Tampa Bay Rays, and the Kansas City Royals. Again, not all of those teams are bad teams, certainly not. But the Blue Jays are the only ones that have a home run total that is in the upper half of teams this league. They are ranked 13th this year with 182 home runs. Meanwhile, the Padres are 29th with 141. The Brewers are 20th with 163. The Rays are 16th with 176, and the Royals are 25th with 153 home runs. When you go to the other side of the ledger, the teams that have the steepest attack angles are the Cubs, the Tigers, the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Orioles. And all 5 of those teams have home run totals that are in the upper half this season of teams. The Cubs are 7th with 209. The Tigers are 10th with 193. The Yankees are 1st with 261 home runs this year. The Dodgers are 2nd with 232 home runs. And the Baltimore Orioles, again, a team not having a good year, they are 14th in the league with 181 home runs. And remember, 180 was that magical number that we had talked about. We're 156 games into the season. Those are the totals. I suppose maybe that was the 155 game totals because I pulled these yesterday. What really stuck out to me is when you isolate the data between just the Padres and Dodgers. And what you see is that the bat tracking statistics between these two teams are basically identical, except for everything that has to do with attack angle and swing path tilt. That's it. So the bat speed for these teams, Dodgers 71.5 miles per hour, Padres 71.3 miles per hour. The swing length for the teams, 7.4 feet for the Dodgers, 7.2 feet for the Padres. The X and Y intercepts, that is where the Padres and Dodgers are hitting the ball in relation to their bodies. The X intercept, which is how far away from the body they're hitting the ball less than 0.2 of an inch in difference. 38.1 on the Dodgers to 37.9 on the Padres, and almost the same amount of difference in the Y-intercept, which is the perhaps more important statistic of how far in front of their bodies. We talk about wanting to get in front of a ball to potentially pull it. The Dodgers have a 30.5 inch Y-intercept, and the Padres have a 30.8 inch Y-intercept. And in terms of attack direction, we always think about the Dodgers as a team that sort of led the revolution in terms of pulling the ball in the air. They're only separated by 1 degree. The Dodgers are pulling the ball 2 degrees on average, and the Padres 1 degree on average. But the attack angle, like I said, 11 versus 8 degrees. The swing path tilt, the Dodgers 35 degrees and the Padres 31 degrees. And the ideal attack angle percentage, 51.7% for the Dodgers versus 47.9% for the Padres. Those are the only categories where there's significant difference in the data. And so, again, I'm just a schmuck who's looking at this stuff on his computer. And we're 156 games into the season, and this is a significant sample size. And to me, it does show whether or not you want to say that the Padres are doing this on purpose. I will certainly venture to say that the Dodgers are doing what they're doing on purpose. And so, I think Victor Rodriguez is a great hitting coach. I think he's done great things for this team. But that is something that I am curious if the Padres will try and adjust in the offseason, or if they will just lean into this and say this is the way that we try and win games. So that was all.
Well, really interesting. And I think the Padres have told us, all the way back to spring training. And every time they talk about Petco Park hitting, this is what they're talking about. They just need more overall power in order to hit more homers. They're going to come up, 36 or 37 homers short of 180 this year, unless they go completely insane over the course of the next week, in which case they will win 90 games. Because if they hit 35, 36 home runs this week, I'm going to say that they're going to probably win all the games. But they think this is going to be an advantage next week. And the numbers and history say no, it's actually a gigantic disadvantage. No matter what you say, it's a huge disadvantage because homers go over the wall for points, whereas well-struck balls up the middle can just lead to strikeout relievers stranding the bases.
Well, the Padres have chosen a lane. What I see that is interesting here is the top 4 teams in attack angle are all really good offensive teams that are going to the playoffs. It's the Chicago Cubs, Detroit Tigers, New York Yankees, Los Angeles Dodgers. And the bottom 3 teams in attack angles are 3 really good teams who have good offenses who are going to the playoffs. And that's the Padres, the Brewers, and the Blue Jays. So we're going to see playoffs determined by which schools of thoughts in building these teams wins. Like the Padres, they are a gap-to-gap team with a flat angle that's trying to maximize contact and minimize strikeouts. They're going to hope their starting pitching carries them to their elite bullpen. Whereas the Brewers are going to do the same thing, kind of like not selling out for power, but they're going to try to get on the bases and steal some bags and put pressure on you that way. It's going to these will be the determining factors in who walks away with it all this year.
Yeah. And just to follow up on that, Chris, I'm all for playing to the ballpark that you're playing in. I think that's something that teams frequently don't do, and they should, because you only get to play 81 games in one park. But you better hope you're playing home playoff games there if that's going to be part of your strategy. So that's all I'll say on that.
Well, the Padres know what they have to do. They have to win a series on the road in order to get that, unless the Cubs want to get double swept. And if the Cubs really want to get double swept, then cool. We'll try and take advantage of that somewhere along the way. But this is a week to take care of business. I'd say the only thing in closing, the only issue of actual concern would be San Diego getting swept 3 in a row by Milwaukee and losing Friday to Arizona, because that would put Saturday and Sunday's games in play as being necessary, and that could mean literally affecting the playoff rotation, because now King has to go deeper into the game, or Darvish has to start on game 162 because, like, I think it's so bloody unlikely.
You said it. King pitches, and then we're hearing about how lucky we are to have Dylan Cease on the team because he's your game 2 starter.
Right. Exactly. So that's the one and only thing for me, is just clinch it with enough time that Cortez and Sears both get a start this week. Do that. See if O'Hearn can keep hot. Merrill, can we get Manny? Can we just get that spark lit under Manny going into the last week of the season? And then with a potential clinch, can we give Manny another day off? Can we give Toddy a day off? Can we give these guys a day off? Can Bogarts not get a day off and play 6 games and try and get a little bit of something? These are the things to watch in this coming week, unless the Cubs want to do something silly or stupid. These are the things to watch this week, and then we're going to be there. We're going to be there. And I think it's great that 3 times so far in the 2020s, the Padres have won the best of 3. They're 3 for 3, winning the best of 3. Half the teams in the playoffs lose in 2 or 3 games and feel like the season was just such a letdown. And we've always been able to add that second week to the playoffs at the bare minimum. And it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a challenge to do it this year, that's for sure. But let's see if this week can help get the Padres in the right direction to be able to beat the Cubbies twice next week at Wrigley. Any final thoughts, gentlemen? Hearing none.
Be good, Xander Bogaerts. Be so good. Be so strong. Be so fast with the bat and quick of the eye. And lithe of the mind.
Yeah. I think, I've noticed the energy in the Discord has been a little bit down as the Padres haven't been playing well. I think our energy has certainly been a little bit more dour. I will certainly cop to at least speak for myself and say mine. But I just want to reiterate that it is September 21st. The Padres are in a playoff position. That's something that was not likely going into this season, according to Fangraphs. And I'm really stoked that the Padres are showing up, and the Padres are going to make the playoffs in back-to-back years for the first time since 2006, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And that's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. So I just want a moment of appreciation, moment of gratitude, a moment of zen even to end the show, and go Padres.
Go Padres.